Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah.
Today we read the Sai Satcharita chapter 1, and after this we try to have an explanation of the Sai Satcharita chapter 1. Shri Sai Satcharita chapter 1.
Obeisances, the story of grinding wheat and its philosophical significance. According to the ancient and revered custom, Hemant Pant begins the work, Shri Sai Satcharitra, with various salutations. First, he makes obeisance to the god Ganesha to remove all obstacles and make the work a success, and says that Shri Sai is God Ganesha himself. Then, to goddess Saraswati to inspire him to write the work, and says that Shri Sai is one with this goddess and that he is himself singing his own life. Then, to the gods Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankara, the creating, preserving, and destroying deities, respectively, and says that Sainath is one with them, and he, the great teacher, will carry us across the river of worldly existence. Then, to the tutelary deity Narayan Adinath, who manifested himself in Konkan, the land reclaimed by Parashurama, Rama in the Hindi version, from the sea, and to the Adi, original Purush of the family. Then to Bharadwaj Muni, into whose Gotra he was born, and also to various rishis, Yajnavalkya, Bhrigu, Parashar, Narad, Vedavyas, Sanaka, Sanadan, Sanat Kumara, Shuka, Shaunaka, Vishwamitra, Vashishta, Valmiki, Vamadeva, Jaimini, Vaishampayana, Navayogendra, etc. And also the modern saints such as Nivritti, Jnanadeva, Sopan, Muktabai, Janardhan, Ekanath, Namadeva, Tukaram, Kanha, and Narahari, etc. Then, to his grandfather, Sadashiv, father Raghunath, his mother, who left him in his infancy, to his paternal aunt, who brought him up, and to his loving elder brother. Then, to the readers and prayers, praise them to them to give their whole and undivided attention to his work. And lastly, to his Guru, Sri Sai Nath, an incarnation of Sri Dattatreya, who is his sole refuge and who will make him realize that Brahma is the reality and the world an illusion, and incidentally, to all beings in whom the Lord God dwells. After describing in brief the various modes of devotion according to Parashar, Vyasa, and Chandilya, the author goes on to relate the following story. It was sometime after 1910 that I went one fine morning to the masjid in Shirdi to have darshan of Sai Baba. I was wonderstruck to see the following phenomenon. After washing his mouth and face, Baba began to make preparations for grinding wheat. He spread a sack on the floor and thereon set a hand mill. He took some quantity of wheat in a winnowing fan and then, drawing up the sleeves of his kafni, his robe, and taking hold of the peg of the hand mill, started grinding the wheat. By putting a few handfuls of wheat in the upper opening of the mill and rotated it. I thought, what business Baba had with the grinding of wheat, when he possessed nothing and stored nothing, and as he lived on alms? Some people who had come there thought likewise, but none had the courage to ask Baba what he was doing. Immediately, this news of Baba grinding wheat spread into the village, and at once men and women ran to the masjid and flocked there to see Baba's act. 4 bold women from the crowd forced their way up and, pushing Baba aside, forcefully took the peg or handle into their hands. And singing Baba's Leela, started grinding. At first, Baba was enraged, but on seeing the women's love and devotion, he was much pleased and began to smile. While they were grinding, they began to think that Baba had no house, no property, no children, none to look after, and he lived on alms, and therefore he did not require any wheat flour for making bread or roti. What will he do with this large quantity of flour? Perhaps, as Baba is very kind, he will distribute the 4 amongst us. Thinking in this way, and while singing, they finished the grinding, and after putting the hand mill aside, they divided the flour into 4 portions and began to remove them by taking 1 portion per head. Baba, who was calm and quiet till then, got wild and started abusing them, saying, "Ladies, have you gone mad? Whose father's property are you looting away? Have I borrowed any wheat from you so that you can safely take the flour? Now, do this. Take the flour and throw it on the village borders." On hearing this, the women felt abashed and, whispering amongst themselves, went to the outskirts of the village and spread the flour as directed by Baba. I asked the Shirdi people, what was this that Baba did? They replied that as cholera epidemic was spreading in the village, this was Baba's remedy for the same. It was not wheat that was ground, but cholera itself was ground to pieces and pushed out of the village. From this time onward, the cholera epidemic subsided and the people of the village were happy. I was much pleased to know all this, but at the same time, my curiosity was also aroused. I began to ask myself, what earthly connection was there between wheat flour and cholera? What was the causal relation between the two? And how to reconcile them? The incident seems to be inexplicable. I should write something on this and sing into my heart's content Baba's sweet Leelas. Thinking in this way about this Leela, my heart was filled with joy, and I was thus inspired to write Baba's life, the Sai Satcharitra. And as we know, with Baba's grace and blessings, this work was successfully accomplished. Philosophical significance of grinding. Apart from the meaning which the people of Shirdi put on this incident of grinding wheat, there is, we think, a philosophical significance too. Baba lived in Shirdi for about 60 years, and during this long period, he did the business of grinding almost every day. Not, however, wheat alone, but the sins, the mental and physical afflictions, and the miseries of his innumerable devotees. The two stones of his mill considered of karma and bhakti, the former being the lower one and the later the upper one. The handle with which Baba worked the mill consisted of dhyan. It was the firm conviction of Baba that knowledge or self-realization is not possible unless there is the prior act of grinding of all our impulses, desires, sins, and of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and the ahankar, which is so subtle and therefore so difficult to get rid of. This reminds us of a similar story of Kabir, who, seeing a woman grinding corn, said to his guru, Nipat Niranjan, "I am weeping because I feel the agony of being crushed under this wheel of worldly existence, like the corn in the hand mill." His guru replied, "Do not be afraid. Hold fast to the handle of knowledge of this mill, as I do, and do not wander far away from the same, but turn inward to the center, and you are sure to be saved." Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. End of chapter 1. Obeisances, the story of grinding wheat and its philosophical significance.
How I understand Baba in chapter 1. Baba was grinding every day the wheat. And in this chapter, Hemat Pant gives first salutation to Ganesha. He thanks him and invites him to be present, to Saraswati, to a lot of saints, and also to his father and brother, and invites them to be present and guide him to give the knowledge of Baba in a vital and perfect form to the Sai Satchita. Then the chapter starts with grinding the wheat. When Baba starts grinding the wheat, the author had one thought. What business Baba had with grinding the wheat when he possessed nothing and stored nothing, and as he lived as on alms? Why he do this? Then in the next sentence, it said that very less people have the courage to ask Baba, to be honest to him, to be direct to him, to have the courage to be with the Almighty everywhere and to live in His presence. And if there is a thought which is not clear what Baba is doing, how Baba is acting, then why not asking Baba directly? Then 4 women came out of the crowd. They forced their way up and, pushing Baba aside, forcibly took their pack or handle into their hands and singing Baba's Leela and started grinding. This means there were 4 ladies. They took over Baba, pushed him aside and took over what Baba was doing on that day and do this in the way how they think they have to do it. But they do it with love. They sing and they do it with devotion. So Baba was pleased and began to smile even in the situation that he was overtaken. Then the next I thought started. While they were grinding, they began to think that Baba had no house, no property, no children, none to look after, and lived on alms, and therefore he did not require any wheat flour for making bread or roti. What will he do with this large quantity of flour? Perhaps, as Baba is very kind, he will distribute the flour amongst us. This was the thought out of the woman, and they tried to possess the floor, which was Baba grinding before. And they overtook the property of Baba. They tried to overtook. Then Baba was very angry. He starts. Before he was, it's written, Baba, who was calm and quite up, still now got wild and started abusing them, saying, ladies, have you gone mad? Whose father's property are you looting away? Have I borrowed any wheat from you so that you can safely take the floor? Now do this, take the floor and throw it on the village borders. This means I am in a guilt to you that you think you can take something from me. Do I have any guilt? Do you give me something that I borrow something from you? That you can say this is me? Then he give instruction that this is not it's not for the mind, because it's very unreasonable. Bring this wheat on the borders. In the time where wheat is very precious, because hunger can come with the cholera, he said something which makes them more crazy. The woman more, they think, what can Baba do? Why Baba is saying this? But they did it because they were devoted to him. The cholera is in that day there was cholera, it's true, but the true cholera is the mind. The people are not asking what you want. How can I help you? What you are doing, can I help you in doing this? And what you want with this? What you feel? I am able to help you, or do you need help? Are you thirsty? Do you have pain? The cholera is inside us, that we are not able to open us up for the needs of others. We overtake their will. We overtake their freedom. We overtake their privacy, and try to measurize them for our own advantage, for our own hidden thoughts, needs, identities. And we are not able to see that we are misusing the other one. We make them to slaves. We say something for our own advantages. That's the cholera. And you can see in our times now that every state, every nation thinks first on themselves. And they don't come together and ask what is needed in Europe at whole, together, what we can do together, what we can do in Asia. To overcome this situation, to overcome the sins, it is necessary to see the subconsciousness in everyone, first by themselves, and to open up as wide for others that we allow them to have other subconsciousness, not judging them. Feel free and see that it is created by God's love itself. And that this love creates different forms, and they are all welcome on earth. How they are. So if we can bring up our subconsciousness, our identities, then we grind them, we make them aware, and we have not to judge. Make us better or less. We have not to compare. And Baba said in one sentence, it was the firm conviction of Baba that knowledge or self-realization is not possible unless there is the prior act of grinding of all our impulses, desires, sins, and of three gunas, vis, satya, rajas, and tamas, and the ahankar, the ego, which is subtle and therefore so difficult to get rid of. That is the core of the chapter 1. There is no possibility to be enlightened to live as a free being if we are not ready to look honestly on that what is ruling us inside, which is ruling our mind, which is ruling our body, which is ruling our emotions. Now I want to speak about the last part in Sai Satchita chapter 1. This reminds us of a similar story of Kabir, who, seeing a woman grinding corn, said to his guru, Nipat Niranjan, I am weeping because I feel the agony of being crushed under the weight of worldly existence, like the corn in the hand mile. Then his guru replied, do not be afraid. Hold fast on the handle of the knowledge of this mile as I do, and do not wander far away from the same, but turn inward to the center, and you are sure to be saved. What does it mean? On the corn which is grinded is the sin. The mile up, the stone up, is the bhakti, and down is the karma. The handle is jnana. If you hold with your hand on the handle, on jnana, on the knowledge, and you are centered in the middle of the mile, where no movement arises, like in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, everything will get destroyed. In the middle, there is no movement. There is silence. There is Brahm. If you are able to focus on Brahm in the middle of the mile, and
you can be happy that all your sins get crushed in the bhakti of your guru to his guru, and you are released of your karma. Om Sai Ram. Jai Jai Sai
Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai Namo Namah. Om Sai Namo Namah. Shri Sai Namo Namah. Jai Jai Sai Namo Namah. Sadguru Sai